James gets back. Good evening. Today is Monday, February 23rd, 2026, and we'll call to order the Enhancement Grant Program Committee. And well, we'll just go down the line. So, Mr. Wilson, would you start?
Scott Wilson. Adam Morrow.
Mike Mitchell.
Denise McGriff.
Rocky Smith.
Judy Schaefer.
Eric Bruckbauer. James Graham.
Christine? Christine, we're doing roll call. Can you unmute her? Christine, we're doing roll call.
Oh, the audio's not clicked on, so.
We were just talking a moment ago, so.
Yeah.
Christine, if you can hear us, could you please introduce yourself?
Can't hear you.
Nope, she cannot.
Oh, so don't we need to click? She
We-
has
we
her
just- we were just
microphone
talking
off,
a
but
moment
also
ago.
the
Oh, you know
audio's
what,
off.
our audio's
I
muted.
just said that,
Yeah.
like,
All of our audio's muted, so we have to, oh, yay!
there you go.
Right, we have to start all over.
I think, well, we can. She knows who we are.
Yeah, okay, we just say your name. Yeah,
But you totally missed the cookies.
we'll save some. Okay, so we don't have anybody in the audience this evening for public comments. So we'll move right to the presentation of the program financial update. Is Mr. Zook coming in?
Yes, he's on screen.
We don't want him zooming in from his office. Get on in here, man.
His versatility, he's able to be very versatile. It helps him in his office.
He can be everywhere at once.
He can be everywhere at once.
All right, well, that introduction, thank you for allowing me to be here with the opportunity to present you with a financial update on the program.
Your audio is very low.
I can't hear anything.
Judy can't hear him.
Okay, is that any better?
Yeah.
Yeah, turn up your microphone, I guess.
Either that or just come into the room.
Because he can't show the financials on the sheet.
Okay, I'm gonna,
Oh, good.
am I good here?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. I didn't do anything differently, but I'll yell. That's why I'm not in the room. So I'd like to share my screen with you. What you have in front of you on some handouts is a financial update with a little bit more detail than what I'm going to cover in on the screen here. I'm going to share my screen, and what I'd like to start by doing is giving you an update through the fiscal year that ended June 30, 2025. If you recall, the last time you received a financial update was around this time last year, before the end of the fiscal year, so probably March of 2025. Well, this is going to cover, as you can see here, up through June 30th of 2025. So as of the end of last year, this was the beginning fund balance, and this is how much revenue the program actually brought in through June 30. And there was an interest allocation, so these are all positive numbers for the program. By the end of the fiscal year, there were $62,984 spent from prior year awards and $290,000 spent in awards that had been awarded for the 24-25 fiscal year. So in total, $353,000 was spent on the awards, and only $19,000 was unspent and awarded to be carried over. So from the amount that was expended plus the program management fees of $45,000, the ending fund balance on the books as of June 30 was $470,000, with a $19,000 commitment carried over from this year into the current fiscal year that we're in now, which is 2025-26. So in summary, this number here, 470,000, is your cash balance at the end of June 30, 2025. I'm going to flip over here to the second handout that you received, and you will see this identical number as the starting fund balance, your cash balance, as of July 1st, 2025. And to date, this is the revenue that has been earned. And then these are projections for what we anticipate receiving from Metro. It's a little bit lower than what it was the prior year. And what part of the message that I will include to you, the analysis on these numbers, is that the actual revenue is trending downward from this the dumping fee. So we're anticipating conservatively right now that we'll receive $277,000 in this current fiscal year by the end of June, in a few months from now. We're also anticipating we'll earn about $15,000 of interest. So the combination of resources on hand is the beginning fund balance plus new revenue in the form of dumping fees and interest. Now, you'll recall that I mentioned earlier that this $19,000 was carried over, basically approved to be spent in this current fiscal year that was awarded in a prior fiscal year. So Park Place Neighborhood Association is anticipated to spend $19,088 from their award in a prior fiscal year. Now, this current year awards, these are all the awards that you approved between the two meetings that you had in early or mid 2025. The detail of the full award is here. What's actually been spent to date is $97,000 out of the $389 that was awarded, leaving about $290,000 yet to come in to be spent as these grant recipients execute the grants. We anticipate, again, the program management fee of $45,000. And so if the full amount of the revenue comes in that we anticipate and the entire amount of the awards are spent, we anticipate that you'll have $308,000 on hand June 30 in cash. So keep that number in mind. And what I'd like to do then is just give you like a high level projection of where I think we are going and where you might need to take some numbers into consideration. So this is a summary level of where we were, the detail I just described. And by June 30, 2026, I'm anticipating you're going to have about $308,000 in cash on hand. This is a 2-year projection moving forward. And again, I said that the revenues from dumping fees is anticipated to go down according to the trend that we're on. And so you'll receive approximately $286,000. And this is an assumption that the project expenses, projected expenses, is an assumption that you would potentially authorize the amount of awards in the way that you've done in the past. Of course, you have the choice to decide that level of spending. But if you were to award $400,000 next, for the 2026-27 fiscal year and have program management costs of $45,000, your cash balance at the end of the upcoming fiscal year would be $149,000. Again, if you continue one more year beyond that and bring in $274,000 of revenue and award $378,000 of grants and spend $45,000 on grant management, program management costs, you will be at a zero balance by June of 2028. Obviously, what I've done is a level of assumptions that you have the ability to control. So the revenue is what it is, and that's a conservative projection based on activity. Don't know what kind of policies may affect that at the metro level, but if the program were to perpetuate, that is about the amount that we anticipate receiving based on activity. Of course, this is where you have control here, how much you award, and that could be essentially an award to match the revenue so that you continue to break even year over year and, perpetuate this, this program. So this is in print before you. I'll entertain any questions that you might have. And then I think from here, it sets a foundation for you to decide, particularly as you go into the awarding process for 2026-27, at what level you want to kind of max out the total awards for the program. So,
Are there any questions? When you do this again, could you please put in the grid lines?
I sure can. In fact, I will do that now, but I will also put that in the print.
Okay, thanks.
You are welcome.
No questions? It's all-
Yeah, I have a
Okay, I was
question.
gonna say, it's all crystal clear, okay.
On your projections,
Yes.
on the projected expense for awards, grants awarded in 26, 27, you have 400,000. And
Yes.
I'm just curious why we would project to spend that much money. Well, where do we think that money is coming from?
So you got a question for me?
Well, I just wonder where that number comes from.
Which
because
page are you looking at?
I'm looking at the summary projection page.
Oh, I didn't realize there was something on the back of this one. That,
And that's where we're trying to kind of make some,
yeah, we did.
think about what might be coming in the future.
Well, as he said earlier, the $400,000 is a projected expense. It's basically, if we keep doing what we're doing now, because we're spending $400,000, $400,000, $400,000. So if we keep doing that, that's the impact of the program. So that's basically what he's simply showing you that.
Okay, so I'm looking at the 408, so that kind of, okay. I get it a little bit better now, thank you.
The 408,000 that you see in the 25-26 fiscal year is what has been committed and awarded
Yeah.
already. So that decision's, been done and down the road. So best that can be done at this point is to start the new grant award period with $308,000 in hand. And then if you want to be, say, you don't want the program to sunset and run towards zero, you would need to essentially adjust the one lever you do have, which is how much in awards you really want to allow. You could take this number right here and do $286,000, meaning you're gonna award exactly what you bring in, and you're gonna carry over, a decent amount. Mr. Graham alluded to this several years ago when he recognized that at some point, depending on how this is managed, the program will operate only on what it anticipates bringing in, which is not a good position to be in. You're always going to want to have some carryover to fund the awards that you are awarding for the future fiscal year, rather than wait for every dime to come in to fund awards that you've, basically committed to.
So in essence, before, the program was managed on a accrual basis of accounting. Everything was planned and assumed. Money wasn't in, it was just planned, it was accrual. And then we switched over to cash basis. And we did that during COVID because our revenue was not as high during COVID because of the obvious reasons. So it's good that we switched over to cash because cash is cash.
The soft landing for the end of this program, if it were to sunset, would be, at some point, you would no longer receive, if theoretically, if you no longer received any revenue, you would still be able to award one more year to spend all the money on hand, to bring it down to zero. Which is why the importance of having cash on hand at the beginning of the fiscal year is important.
Any other questions?
So, one question. At what point do we publicize how much money we have available to grant? Or do we?
You do. When we announce the program, when we open up the applications, then we announce how much money the program has to spend.
Don't we generally say up to?
Yes, we do say up to, because you don't have to spend everything you get.
Exactly.
Okay. So when do we need to make that decision?
Well, you can make it next year. But $400,000, we're projecting, we're saying $400,000 this year. But you can actually don't have to spend $400,000 this year. You can make it something else.
So is that cash on hand, 400,000, or is it
It's
projected?
cash. It's cash.
It's cash, okay.
Could I attempt to answer Mr. Mitchell's question a little differently?
Sure.
You would need to make that decision as to how much you're gonna award within the next month or two, because
Somebody just walked into the lobby.
you're anticipating making an award, opening up the program for the 2026-27 grant awards within the next 1 to 2 months, so that the applications can come in and people can, you can make the award by May of 2026. And then that money that you award is going to be spent 26-27. So to answer your question a little bit more specifically, your decision point is coming up, within a month or two, if not this evening, because you are going to open up a new award program, new year, and you're going to have to decide, do you want to do 400,000 or 350 or whatever number you want? So.
Okey dokey. Oh, please, just go right ahead, jump in.
Thank you. Could we not just do it as we have in the past, like you said, Mayor, where it says up to $400,000 and determine the night of the meeting whether we want to make that limit on ourselves?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, so we don't necessarily have to make a decision
No.
tonight. So,
No.
and that's where
I don't think
how I
anybody
would
was,
prefer to do
I don't
it.
think anybody was recommending we make the decision tonight, but he said within the next month or two, so we will, yeah, I think that's.
Well, we wouldn't have to make it until the actual awarding.
Award,
of the
yes,
grants, is
exactly.
what I'm saying
Yeah.
we should do.
Exactly. Does everybody concur with that? Or would you
So-
like to set,
I just have to say that if we open up the grant process and we say that we have up to $400,000 to spend, and in reality, to be fiscally wise, we don't want to spend that much money, really. I don't like putting out to people thinking of potential projects because then they think, oh, they didn't award for $100,000, so we have extra money, when in reality, we don't, because it's projection. So I guess I'm a little bit more conservative about that and thinking that maybe we say we can award up to $350,000 or $325,000. That's just my thinking.
I mean, that's another way to do it. So we have 2 suggestions for how we go about that. Do we have anybody that does the committee have a specific preference for one way or the other?
One more thing.
Just because we've done something right all the time doesn't mean we have to continue to do that.
I mean, one more thing, keep in mind that there have been years where you actually reduced the amount of grant that you were giving out on the fly.
Right.
You did that on the fly.
Yeah.
And then there were times when you had some money left over and you gave everybody something. So everybody had a little something to go home with. So, I mean, you've been flexible in the past. Keep in mind that, in the previous several years, the maximum grant amount had been $50,000 per grant, up to 50,000. And you all have agreed now in terms of the policy to cut that back to 40. So you're actually already providing a max of $40,000 per project, up to $40,000. So you're already cutting it already.
Christine, do you have any thoughts?
I don't, other than I think the decline in tonnage will persist for several years. So I think it's wise for us to be a little bit more conservative. And I do think it's appropriate when we announce that we give a range and not necessarily just the highest number, so that we do level community expectations. And if we don't spend it all, they don't come following up with us about why we turned down a good application for being a little bit more fiscally prudent. So I'd appreciate a range when we post, but I also think the night of we'll also know the dynamics at play with being fiscally prudent versus stretching to include more grants.
So you did say, you were cutting out a little bit, you did say that you anticipate that there will be continued decline in tonnage? Okay, that's what I thought you said.
I have a little problem with, well, more than a little problem, I guess, with putting out 400,000 because we're burning ourselves down to zero.
Yeah.
And combine that with, we are making some assumptions about future revenue. And I just think in terms of kind of the PR part of it, if we say we're going to issue up to 325 or 350, and we decide we want to do more than that, that's better than saying all of a sudden our revenue didn't come up as much as we thought, so we're not going to issue as much. So, and maybe a range is the way to do it. You know, we say 325 to 350, or I don't know what exactly the right numbers are, but I'm a little worried about going that full 400,000 because we are making some assumptions.
I don't think it's a bad idea to have some additional funds left over.
Right.
I mean, just for a cushion. I mean, again, as Matt and Christina both said, we're looking at declining tonnage. So do we want to spend, all of it, or do we want to hold back a little bit? I think it's probably better to be conservative and then add to it if we need to, rather than go full bore and then not have any cushion.
I would be supportive of offering a range. I would just say again that I think the concerns over whether there would be a PR issue when the actual awarding of the grants goes out. I think people who don't receive the grants are going to be upset whether we don't give it to them because we choose not to or because we don't have the money. So I don't think that, and that's what we've done every single year when we haven't awarded those grants, whether it was for one of those reasons or the other, they're still going to be upset.
PR isn't exactly the right term, but I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I think we should omit. Do we want to put a range in, as was suggested, 325 to 350? And then see how it goes? I mean, when we do the advertisement. Consensus?
The only thing I don't like about a range is it does communicate like a lower end and almost kind of like a guarantee of we will, award at least this amount, up to this amount. So I would be more in favor of just saying up to X, and I don't think that should be 400,000. I think that it should be lower.
What would you like to suggest? Do we want to go with just the 350?
I'd be good with that.
You'd be good with that? Okay. Eric? Judy?
I'm okay with 350.
Rocky?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Okay. Do we need to make that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, so can we have a motion, please?
I make a motion to make the range up to 350 with no lower
Okay, it's
range.
been moved by Rocky and seconded by Mike that we post in our advertisement that we will do up to 350,000.
For 26, 27.
Yes, 26, 27. Christine, you okay with that? Okay, thumbs up, all right. So let's have a vote. All those in favor, let's just raise our hands. I think we're okay with that. Okay, we have unanimous, okay. Good deal, everybody.
Very good.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Zook?
Nothing else, thank you.
Thank you. All right, James?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, as you recall, on October the 20th, the committee came together and held a special meeting to address some of the mitigating issues with the program. And the committee was successful in crafting new program policies during that time. Then those program policies was presented to the City Commission on December 3rd. And those policies were passed on December 3rd by the City Commission. And so during this administrative meeting, as you know, we have this every year. During this administrative meeting, what we're really looking for is one of the things that you were concerned with before, and that is clarity of program guidelines. And so this is why we're presenting to you these guidelines today, just because different eyes see the same thing differently. And you can walk away, you can read the same sentence and you can walk away saying a different thing. So this is simply presented because we took the policies and created guidelines. And so therefore, it's in the interest of clarity, this is presented to you tonight. One of the things during the policies, with regard to policies, it was interesting to note that with regard to project funding, we decided $40,000 max per application instead of the 50 that we had been doing before. We did away with that chart that we used to, based on what you were asking, also determine how much match you would be presenting. So we did away with that, and we basically said 50% is the match, whether it's cash or whether it's in kind, it's just 50%. In terms of funding cap for city departments, we maintained it at 20%. With any of the city departments, that if they came forward and asked for funding under this program, the total amount of funding from the pool is cut at 20% for the city departments. Indirect cost, we had said that it was important for the applicant to identify what indirect costs would be, what they are, and keep that at 10% indirect costs. The committee agreed in terms of policy that we wanted to see tangible asset-based funding. So applicants that propose to spend the money on projects that result in development or enhancement of tangible assets were strongly preferred. With regard to private projects on private property, you said that you wanted to make sure that if that were to happen, that there would be a public benefit for such projects that would be occurring on private property. With regard to environmental-based activities, you said that you wanted to focus on remediating or enhancing environmental conditions, and those projects would be favorably looked upon. In terms of personnel funding, you all agreed that the program would not fund ongoing staff functions, but would provide funding to contractors that are hired specifically for a project. Now, there is a pre-application meeting, which you all had decided that you really want people to go to the pre-application. And it wasn't necessarily mandatory, but in a sense it was. Because what you agreed to is actually, for those who would not be able to attend a meeting, a pre-application meeting, we would video that. And people would have access to the video. and would certify that they watched the video so that they could, as part of the requirement of the program.
Isn't there a way that if they log on to the meeting and then they watch it, is there a way that staff will be able to know whether they were on or not?
Oh, yeah, there are ways to do that.
Okay, that's what I thought, just,
And then in terms of evaluating criteria, evaluative criteria, we said that you were interested in how the projects would impact city residents. You didn't give a specific number, we had numbers in the past, you basically left it at that. With regard to letters of support from organizations, you basically said that it was optional. And so, instead of mandatory. However, you did require letters of permission with the applicants. If the city departments are partners, then city departments were partners in the project, then the department would have to give a letter of permission. So, those are the policies that were passed. And so we turned those policies into guidelines. And that is what you have before you tonight, the guidelines. So I don't know how you would like to do this. Some of you've had these program guidelines. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them and read them over. Was there anything that was standing out that deserved more clarity or something?
well, I think it'd just be easier if we just, since there's not that many pages, just go through and say, are there any concerns or things people want to bring up with regard, let's say, starting with the project goals?
Okay.
And then if there isn't, then we move to the next, keep just going through it.
Okay.
I know some of us have been writing all over our stuff. Does anybody have anything under the project goals that they wanted to talk about? Did you have anything? Nope.
No,
I
go
have
ahead,
something
go
real
right
quick.
ahead.
I think that it should say under H, enhance art and culture within the city rather than with the city.
Yeah, within, yeah, I wrote that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had one under the, where it says, due to several major program changes to improve blah, 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 that you have in bold. It says, please see the mandatory information sessions section cited later in this document. One of the things I wrote down in my note was, as far as the goals are, explain how it meets you have one or more, how it meets one or more of the goals. So projects that receive support through this program must meet at least, please explain. Because I think there was a question by a couple of people last time, well, you didn't, it's like, it was obvious to me that we wanted them to explain what it is.
They just check the boxes.
Yes, and so I think we need to say, please explain how it meets one or more of the goals. Please provide details. And then under number 2, as with a couple of others, where it says reduction in the toxicity, and I put and/or increased reuse of recycling opportunities, because maybe it does both. Because you're saying it's either one or the other. And I don't know if and/or, I thought and/or sounded better. And that would be like under number D, preservation.
Was that D or B? No, D.
And
D was the first one.
Okay.
And also A, so, appearance and/or environmental quality.
So, okay, listen, so reduction in toxicity and increase, what do you say, and/or, and?
Yeah, and/or, because it
And
could
or,
be
okay.
both.
And then the other one, you're also saying
So A
and/or.
would be and/or, C would, well, I have a question about C. D would be and/or,
Okay,
E would be and/or,
E would be and/or, yeah.
and then you've got the within, because I saw that too. So it's with the city, well, it could be with the city, but should be within the city.
Okay. Improvement safety? Improve safety within the city or in the city?
Yeah, well, it's gotta be within the city.
Okay,
I wanted to back up and have see if anybody else has a concern. I still have a concern about C. And I'm going back and forth, but my last ping pong was, I'm not sure I feel comfortable upgrading real, because use the word personal. When I think of personal property, I'm not sure that, are we talking about personal property owned by the nonprofit or personal property owned by somebody? Because I'm thinking about the application we had for putting on a roof on a building that somebody didn't own.
Now, keep in mind, this is Metro's goal.
I know, but I'm just pointing this out because I'm having heartburn about it. I know it's Metro's, but I have a real problem about us funding and Metro funding money for private property. And it doesn't have anything to do with this situation we had last time. I was having a problem with it before that. If it's private, it's private. If it's public, we know we have an automatic guarantee of the public being able to use. I mean, let's say it's on private property, something happens to that person, they've signed this agreement, they die, their heirs go, hey, we don't want public on this property anymore. I mean, are we gonna ask for our money back? I mean, I just think that putting public funding on private property is fraught with risk, and I just feel a little uncomfortable about it. And I'm not sure what, I was trying to think of all sort of different scenarios about how that could possibly work.
So C says upgrade real or personal property owned, operated by a nonprofit, having a 501c3 status.
Right.
So that would be that's obviously a nonprofit.
I know, but I have a problem with the word personal.
Oh, I see.
I'm not sure if it's owned and operated by the nonprofit, is it personal property? I don't know.
But when it says owned, to me, that could mean two different things.
She's gonna raise her hand. Yeah. Thank you, Christine. You're gonna clarify this whole thing, it'll all be clear to me, right?
I don't think I'm coming in with clarity, but I think the intention was to be clear that it doesn't have to be real property. So in terms of what a grant normally goes to support, it is a major purchase that has a value and a depreciable value over time. I think what we're trying to distinguish is if you need to buy protective gear, clothing, things that are real, tangible items owned by a nonprofit, but wouldn't qualify as real property. I think that's what we're trying to get at. And I agree with you, personal property is a confusing thing when in the same sentence as owned by a 501c3.
Right, that's what I was.
So I think as long as the intent doesn't change, that you don't have to have that high standard of, like a piece of furniture or a piece of sophisticated computer equipment to qualify, then I'd be happy to see those words change.
That makes sense?
What are you suggesting?
Material goods.
Pardon?
I would use material goods,
Okay,
materials and goods.
that might be a better statement than personal property.
Yeah, could we change it this is a contractual,
Could we change it to material goods?
or keep that in our minds?
Or could we say such as material goods? What do you think?
Mayor, if we made that change, I'd be happy to advocate for that if Metro had any questions about it. But I think that makes sense.
Makes sense?
Okay, material good.
So just to confirm, the full phrase would be real property and or material goods?
I think so.
Does real property refer to real estate?
Yep.
I mean, do we want to say real estate? I feel like that's,
Well, it's definitely a real estate term, for sure.
okay.
Yeah, real property is like land structures like attached to like fixed assets, and then personal property is like things that are movable and whatnot, so.
So it's going to say real property and or material goods.
Material goods.
Okay, that works.
and I'm sure somebody will have a question about it, and then you can explain that at the mandatory, non-mandatory event. Anything else on that section? How about, project eligibility? My only suggestion there was underline legal boundaries. City limits of City of Oregon City, in case somebody doesn't know what a legal boundary is. Anything else under, like I said, I still have a question about C under number 2. I wrote, James, on your sentence, the applicant, I put strongly encouraged to submit an application for a project that results in a positive, demonstrative, or measurable impact on Oregon City residents.
Where are you?
To be, or not to be.
Oh,
Okay, how different is that, what you were saying from this sentence?
I just said I added the word strongly encouraged. To show that it will result in a positive, demonstrative, and/or measurable impact.
yeah, just adding the word strongly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
If it doesn't have a demonstrative impact, you're not gonna be able to measure it. So you're gonna have to have both of them. So then your sentence on 2C, the program will not fund projects on private properties without a public benefit. Projects on private property must guarantee long-term public access and public benefit. So we kind of are repeating. And I still have a problem with funding projects on private property.
And what constitutes long-term?
Exactly.
That's
Like I
a
said, somebody could sign an
nebulous
agreement,
thing.
they die, their heirs go, we're done with you, we don't wanna do this. And then we've spent money on something that we aren't able to be a part of anymore in the future.
Well, you have the option, you can either say, you could say, for an example, 10 years.
Or we could say we do not fund
Or
projects
you
on
could say
private
not-
property,
you
that would
go-
just be
you can
really
say-
simple.
You can say that too.
I mean, is there a scenario you can imagine where you would fund?
I tried to think of several, and I've talked to some non-related city people who have legal backgrounds to ask, I said, what if we did X? What do you know? And then you know how lawyers are, the answer I got was, it depends.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, if you're.
Either,
I was just gonna say, so, I mean, what about, let's say somebody purchases a property that has, that's in the watershed, an extremely contaminated way they bought it, and, there's a public benefit to having that cleaned up as it goes downstream. Would the public need to access it? I wouldn't think so, but is there a public benefit? Sure. I mean, is that a feasible scenario?
yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
gonna say another example.
Soil and Water Conservation District is,
Being murals on private property, which are still viewable by the public.
Right.
How do we contend with that? And I would also say that there are government programs that fund projects for private interests all the time, and the one that comes to mind for me, given my line of work, is for affordable housing. And so you have these subsidies that are provided to affordable housing developers, provided that their units are on a covenant for usually 30 years at an affordable rate, but at which point afterward, even though they receive the subsidies, they are not bound to that after that certain amount of time. So there is a precedent for governments providing support like this, and I know that there are differences here, obviously, but I think there probably could be a way for us to ensure that if we were to determine a length of time that is sufficient for all of us, that we could ensure that that's the case with the terms of this grant.
Well, actually, the one example I did find out about was the Soil and Water Conservation District. So they are gonna be doing, and it will affect my family. They're working on a project that takes in this particular body of water that goes through probably a half a dozen private properties. But the property owners are going to be required to sign some documentation about stream restoration and, you know, how far from the bank that, you know, let's say it's cattle raising, whatever, that you can have them there. And there are check-ins and things of that sort that SCS's Soil and Water Conservation District is doing. And so that is on private property using federal funding and state funding to manage the watershed of this particular creek and the riparian edges, because they want to try to, you know, restore salmon habitat. And there is salmon going down this particular body of water already, but they're going to enhance it. So that was the only example that I could come up with. And I asked them for some of the documentation on what the property owner was going to have to sign in order to it says voluntary participation, but then they're going to be doing some work, and the property owners, I think, are putting in some funding as well, as much as, you know. So that was the one thing I could find out when I was asking, that I said, okay, well, that makes sense.
I don't know, for me, I wouldn't be in support of removing, saying, you know, we will not, you know, support projects on private property, because I can't say that there would never be a project. It's really, the onus of responsibility is on the person putting in the application to convince us why there's a public benefit.
Right. Well, we've turned down a driveway, we've turned down a roadway, we've turned down roofs, because we didn't see that there was a public benefit there.
I think the mural comment is a good one as to with that, and I think that led me to also think of, I don't know that we've used this grant funding for this in the past, but I know there's been multiple projects where they're in the city over the years where there's been, you know, historic plaques or things put onto individual historic buildings or through the downtown core, which would apply to putting, you know, signage on public buildings, or sorry, private buildings. So, I mean, there are scenarios in which projects could do that.
Wayfinding. Okay, well, like I said, that I figured we'd talk it out loud, and then somebody else would come up with something that, well, I think, does anybody have an objection to changing the projects on private property shall guarantee rather than must? But we need to figure out what might be. The murals, we only have a 5-year kind of covenant on them right now. But
What's the difference between must and shall?
shall means absolutely, must means you have some.
It's the other way around.
Yeah.
Shall implies,
Oh, right, yeah.
yeah, shall implies a level of ambiguity, must is an absolute.
In our legal briefs that I've written, you had to say shall, not may or must.
Well, may and must are two different.
Yes, they are.
Well, no,
Okay.
I'm just confusing.
It's okay, I
Must-
understood what you said.
Must covers it.
I understand what you said, okay? Project contractors versus staff. I don't think we should say, but will provide funding to contractors. We may provide. We may not.
Yep.
Right.
I was thinking of one of the applicants that we've been funding a staff position for about 3 years, but that's, not that the project is terrible, it's just we're trying to do staff. Okay, anything under 3, grant funding.
Well, hold on, let's go back to E. Was there something to be changed there? On the project contractors versus staff?
I said,
Change the
but
word.
may,
Change the word will to may.
May.
Or may?
yeah. It gives us the option. If we say, but will fund, it sounds like we are going to. We may not.
The only thing I had on 3 was in B, the first sentence, that is equal to 50% of the grant
Yeah.
request.
I had that one too.
A word missing.
On C, on the very last sentence, you have, And you have letter or other confirmation documentation from the grant provider should be included. Are we wanting it to be included, or we're just telling them they could sort of include it?
Yeah, they must include documentation.
Then we should say must
Okay.
or shall. And then-
I have a question on that. I would think we must have that documentation if they're including that as part of their match. But if they're gonna try for other grants, but the numbers work without it, do we still have to have?
I think we have to know that they're applying for, I mean, a lot of times, remember a couple of applications, they said pending, and they were
Right.
using it as their match?
Well, then they couldn't. What I'm trying to get at is if that grant is included in their match, then we would have to see documentation.
Yeah, I think,
But if they're just going to try for, if they have the match between in-kind and money they already have, do we have to know about other grants that they might be trying for?
I think somewhere here that we said that, if you are identifying other sources of funding,
We wanted to know what those were.
you wanted to know what, and you also had to secure them by the time you applied.
Okay, then should be must.
Yeah.
In order to alleviate the problem that we had with, on number D, do you want to say you cannot, you say here that the use of pre-existing materials or tools do not constitute in kind, and that was, we had that situation where I don't want that to happen to somebody again.
Right.
It's any grant that I've ever known about, you cannot start stuff before you get the award. Just want to make sure that's totally clear so we don't have,
Well, you don't want to take things, something that's sort of kind of been laying around for years, and then you just dredge it up to do a project, but you've already owned it, it's not a donation.
right.
That's
It
not,
might have been in the past, but not for this, so.
that's what this is, that addresses that.
Yeah.
On page 5 of 14, on item H, is that 20% of
The
what
total,
we say we're going to? It needs to,
Oh.
it needs to specify that it's the total, but is it the total of what we say we're going to award or the total of what we actually award?
I think it would be what we actually award.
Well, that could change.
Right.
That could change real
Yeah.
quick.
So are we saying that it's 20% of the total funds to be awarded?
To be awarded.
Yeah,
Then that should say that.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And then on the next one, grant applications may be funded in part or in full. We're not funding them in full, they always have to have a match.
Right.
I think in that case, that would give, you could still
The full,
give a grant smaller.
full requested amount, but maybe it should say
Maybe it
full
should be
requested.
clarified.
Yeah, that just needs to be clarified.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because
Yeah.
that somebody could misconstrue that.
Right.
Right.
What would be clear?
We want to be perfectly clear.
The full
Full
requested
requested
amount.
amount, I
Or-
think, is,
Or partially, maybe partially or, no, that doesn't work.
No. We need a better adjective. Christine, are you in DC?
No, I'm in San Diego.
Oh, well, that's even better, better than DC.
Way better.
Yes, for sure.
What about using requests instead of applications? So then it's in full
Oh,
of the
yes,
request.
grant requests. Yeah, that's much better.
Maybe partially funded
Yeah,
Maybe partially funded?
or
Funded in full.
funded for the full amount of the request.
yeah.
Grant
That's better.
requests may be partially funded? Okay.
Or funded for the full amount of the request.
Yeah,
To where
I think that's good.
Makes it a little longer but clearer.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Good catch.
Letters.
Yeah, I've got one thing on the letters section on B, when it talks about in the public right of way. In the staff report, it mentioned that the letter also has to say that the city department is willing to take on ongoing maintenance. But that's not in here, and I think it should be.
Yes, definitely should be here.
Yeah, I would also say the example should not be limited to the public right-of-ways. It just say if it takes place on city-owned property. Whether it's the Public Works Department, it's the Parks Department, it's facilities, it's Pioneer Community Center, the library, those are all under public ownership.
Ongoing maintenance by city department, if they use that, if they got a letter of permission.
Right.
Yeah, the wording in the staff report's pretty good.
Okay, I'll use
Yeah,
that.
but it didn't translate into this.
Right.
The one thing that I hope people don't take the letters, not having a letter of support, I mean, I would hate to get somebody apply for a grant and then one of the neighborhoods comes in and says, we don't want this. You know? Nobody ever came to talk to us, we don't support this. I mean, I think that would not be good.
Well, that was the issue that you had before, because we got all confused about letters and where they were coming from and what would make it eligible. So that's why the group,
Oh, no, I'm just saying that I just don't want somebody to misconstrue that if they have a project, I would not want a neighborhood association to come in here and say, we don't support this project, nobody ever, I mean, even though it's not required, I would think they would do diligence and go in and say, hey, we don't have to have a letter of support, but what do you think about this project? Would you write us a letter of support? I mean, I'd rather have a letter of support than have somebody come in here and say, because if a neighborhood came in and said, we don't want this project, I doubt that I would feel comfortable about even funding it.
I think one of the issues that we were facing, if you recall, is that sometimes when the projects are developed, a neighborhood association or whomever
They weren't able to meet them.
They weren't going to be able to meet. And so by timing is an issue.
I'm not concerned about that. If they really have a good project, they will figure out a way to find whoever it is they need to talk to.
Human beings.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You realize that if they don't have to do this,
I
they
know
won't
they
do
don't.
it.
But if it was me, I would do it, because I think that just bolsters the application.
I understand.
And that's something we might want to say in our trainings, and
Yes, exactly.
that this panel's greatly impressed with letters of support, strong letters of support from the immediate
Yeah, not
community,
the
or
ones that
however.
we got that were like, seems like everybody wrote the same thing.
So, yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, my only example is
Yeah.
letters that came from McLaughlin that were fairly detailed.
I think we need to be clear about the letters of permission too, that if there's an organization that really does need to be on board in order for your project
You better
to
do it.
happen, like you, in that case, you really do need the letter.
Oh, yeah,
It yeah.
it's required, yes.
And if that's the neighborhood association, if it's a project that they would have to sign off on, then in that case, we would need the letter.
Well,
Well, that goes
there really
back.
aren't any that the neighborhood association has to sign off.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's just a
Right.
Because they
situation.
don't
I
own,
wouldn't-
they don't own property or anything.
Anything else under B? Okay, I know it's a nitpicky thing, but I just realized we have B and then you have A and B again.
I just saw that too, just
It's
now.
like, wait a minute,
So
so-
we'll change that.
yeah, I thought, okay, I do remember the Roman numeral numbering system from school.
Thank goodness it's a draft.
So you meant letters to be number
Yes.
4?
Yes.
Or, and then you'll switch them all down?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
switch them.
So that's number 4, and then city fees would be number 5. Is that clear, everybody? That you
Yep.
have to make sure you know what you're supposed to be doing. So then 5 is now number 6. 6 is 7. 7 is now 8.
Yeah.
And I think you should underline, missing information will not be accepted.
Which page?
Numbers, the new
Go
number,
back to 5.
8.
Go back to 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
On the current number 7 mandatory information sessions, the second sentence, the first session will be held on March 25th at 6 PM at City Hall, and all potential applicants are required to attend these meetings. That just needs to be fixed.
Yeah, and you might want to,
Well, and the first sentence is wrong.
yeah, it is.
Applicants may choose,
yes.
may choose to
And
attend
then
one
he
of the
says you
2
have to go.
mandatory sessions.
It's a.
But it is, they may choose because they can also watch a recording, so they don't have to
Well, that's
attend
the
either.
2. One's in person and one's recording.
Now, there's 2 in person.
Well, it's not listed there.
That just
Yeah.
needs to be cleared up.
So
to make it-
the second
well, that
session, March
should be-
26th.
That should
I
be
know.
up there.
I know. I
It
think
just
this
has to
is-
be made clear that you have to attend one of the 2 in-person sessions or watch the video.
Right, and you should take the second session and put that up
Yeah, that
where
should
the
go
first
up.
session is. And also, since people are confused, put City Hall, 625 Center Street, because we all know, as you said,
It happened tonight.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
other way
it's still
around.
happening.
the planning commission notice did not say
What do we
City
call
Hall.
this? What do we call this room now?
Mount Hood?
The Mount Hood Room.
Okay.
But we're still in-
I still don't know.
We're in City Hall. We're in City Hall. We're in
I haven't
City Hall.
died yet.
Oh, you're saying it should be the Rocky Smith Room?
The Rocky Smith Memorial.
Memorial Room, yeah, there you go.
Still alive, people.
You can have a memorial named after you, you don't have to be dead.
That's true, I guess. Okay, I want to go back to 5, or what's the new 5?
Okay,
Pre-submission?
City fees, permits, and
Okay.
other costs. So the way it's worded,
it's weird.
I think implies, the way it's worded, I think is referring to mostly projects in terms of like building, installation, construction kinds of things, but that is broader in city permits, because city permits could be street closures, it could be park usage, it could be well, anything that requires food carts or whatever. But so I think, I don't know if that's implied that there could be other things that permits. And then it should say, it says that you should be aware, or that the applicants are responsible for verifying if there's a permit required. So may have to allude to the fact that this could be multiple departments, it might not, because it's all kind of referring to planning.
Right.
And then we might want to say, it doesn't say anything about when those events have to be actually obtained, and I'm assuming that's prior to the project or prior to the
First
event.
run-on sentence says prior to applying for permits, which I think we should.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't say they need to get them. It says they have to be responsible for verifying if they're required. It doesn't say anything about when they have to have those in
Permits
effect.
in hand.
Right.
Prior to executing the project, they do.
Okay, let's do that. Prior to execution.
So I would reword the first sentence.
So how would you, prior to applying for,
Well, you need a subject, a verb, so applicants are responsible for verifying if a city permit is required for their project prior to applying for an enhancement grant. Put the
That's
prep-
more confusing.
I know, put the prepositional phrase at the beginning of a sentence.
okay, I
So
got
do
it.
you want it done after the word permit?
Yes. It's clear, okay, I got you.
My English teacher would be so proud I diagrammed the sentence. I still even remember how to do that. Oh, my God.
But Rocky, in terms of what you're basically, you said,
I think between that sentence and the next one, it should be that they should be aware of what departments this affects, because then it goes right into, and then there's an example
The word
there.
if,
Yeah,
before the word if,
to open up the fact that it could be
could be multiple
multiple
departments.
departments, and then it goes into if it's affecting anything with building or property, contact planning department.
So it sounds like this paragraph needs an opening statement that basically says some projects may
May.
require, some projects may require permits from a variety of city
City
departments.
departments,
That's
or maybe give an example,
Yeah.
street closure, or, things like that.
And of course, if they're here at the mandatory thing, they can
That could be part
they
of
could
that,
ask
yeah.
you, and you would have some general knowledge of saying, yes, I think you might need to go check on that.
Right. But an opening statement, I think, would help explain.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Anything on the page 5? We kind of went through it already. And we have application review and selection. And they're asking us to confirm a date here.
Unless the date that's here in yellow meets, I mean, I don't see a,
Right, at the time we wrote these guidelines, we hadn't.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
we'll take that out then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Under B,
public meeting?
yeah, the last sentence, furthermore, applicants will not have the opportunity to provide additional information related to their proposal at this meeting, except in response to questions.
Which is confusing.
No, I'm saying we need to add that, because if somebody is going to answer questions, they are providing additional information.
Right, that's what I had flagged too, it's
Yeah.
just kind of the same thing.
okay, we can do that.
And wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Wouldn't we want to
Changing
make
that.
a recommendation that they do that, that they're there? I mean, they don't have to be there, but the recommendation is if there's questions,
Anytime
we
we've
should
had
recommend
a
they're
person
there.
not show up, there's always been questions.
Right.
All the years I've served
So
on
some
this.
way to say we recommend you
Yeah.
do,
Strongly
they're
recommend you
not,
appear.
required, but recommended to it be there in case there's questions asked or something.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Strongly recommended.
yeah.
Yeah.
On the current number 9 evaluation and selection, just make sure that's bolded. And then on number 10, the second time the city of Oregon City is referenced, it says city or Oregon City, so just make sure it says city.
That's that other city.
Where is that? Oh, there it is.
Mid through, yeah.
The O and the thing are right there together. It's like, it's very confusing.
Excuse me, Adam, was there something else? You mentioned two things. I got the city of Oregon City, but.
Just
You
that
said
number
bold.
9 should be bolded,
Where it says
evaluation and
evaluation and
selection.
selection.
Oh,
Okay.
It's
yeah.
not in
that's-
bold.
yeah.
Yes, Eric?
This is real nitpicky, but there's an extra "the" in number 8 on the second line, and City Hall and all potential applicants are required to attend. Sure where that is. City Hall and all potential applicants.
And that's under number what?
The new number 8, under mandatory
Oh,
information
back on
systems.
page, the previous page on page
Yeah.
6?
Or wait,
Yeah, 6.
Okay.
Gotcha. Should be just saying "and."
Yeah, that was the one that I
Yeah.
had pointed out.
Yeah, you did.
It's,
Oh, sorry. That one's old news.
Yeah.
Question for the grant agreements, where it says the city, to be amended, the city of Oregon City should be named as additional insured.
I think that's a shall.
Is it requirement or is it
Yes.
optional?
Yeah,
So it should say must.
It's must.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall be named. He who shall not be named. James, when you say brief, what do you mean by brief? I would rather have, more is less.
Where are you saying brief?
Under number 11, exit report to receive final payment for the grant, awarded grant, blah, blah, blah. You have a brief description of the project or program.
Oh, I see. When I think of brief, I think of 2 paragraphs.
I just say the description because everybody's definition of brief.
But, you know, that's, you're right. Everyone has a different definition. It's okay to, I think people want to write less anyway.
But sometimes less is not, doesn't tell you anything.
But that's why the questions are important when they come. And those questions are asked by the committee. But I think it's okay, because generally, lots of people say brief description or brief discussion. It's kind of commonplace. You know it when you hear it, you know it when you see it.
Well, and the exit report is more for the staff,
Staff, I know.
and so if they feel like they need more information, they can follow up.
Right.
So you have a final budget that documents the use of matching sources, so you're asking for some more detail if they use in kind, you know, what did they do?
You're right, exactly, because sometimes maybe they didn't get all the in-kind that they wanted. And there's no, and so therefore the budget might have to be adjusted.
I was gonna, under number 8 on page 8, you have please mention the city of Oregon City. I think we don't wanna say please, is that they need to mention us if they have any promotional material, flyers or whatever. That just was it was a project that was supported by the city and the grant program. So not please. They need, I don't know what word you wanna use, but it needs to be on the it needs to be on there.
Yeah.
Not just mention, but to be front and center.
Shall mention.
Yeah, they have to, shall be noted, or, I know in one of the, when we had the OCCIT on our brochure, we put, this project is partially funded by the Oregon City Civic Improvement Trust, period.
It can be a line of text, but I thought at one time, and this may be in the archives of the city somewhere, but I thought I made a little logo or thing that people could use for that.
I think now they're using
But-
our logo and.
Just
you know,
the metro, or just
yeah.
the city logo, and,
Yeah, funded in part by the Metro Enhancement.
I mean, do we want to know how that's used? I mean, is it a line of text on a poster, is it,
But I think of the word prominent.
what?
Pardon?
Prominent. We must be mentioned prominently on a,
I guess the problem is some people would just slap the city logo on there. That doesn't tell them it's a Metro Enhancement
yeah.
grant. It doesn't tell them anything. So, I mean, it's the wording or something that specifies that this grant money is coming from this. And I thought we had made a little, something that was a logo that had the Metro Enhancement Grant Fund thing.
Well, like
Or I
said,
don't
when
know,
we
but
did OCCIT, they gave us specific language that we had to put on the material saying how it was funded.
so I think we want to be consistent and say how they're gonna, you know, if it's a sign or if it's something that would have this on it or
we could say this project was funded by the Metro Enhancement Grant.
something like that.
Yeah, you
Something
can
like that.
put that in there, as this is the example of what you need to put on there.
Maybe I'm getting too picky, but on exit report, the last, it says the exit report must include, and number 7 is before and after photos. And I know we've said we're preferring projects with a physical component, but we might still fund some that don't. So you couldn't have pictures of that.
Well, you have unhappy children, and you have happy children.
I have another nitpicky one regarding
But
that
before
one.
you want to get rid of that one, or you want
I think that's helpful.
Before.
I would say maybe in parentheses
Or
saying,
other
you know,
data.
if involving tangible assets or if applicable.
Ask staff,
Yeah, as applicable.
I think,
yeah,
if
as applicable.
Yeah.
It depends on the
That's good.
project.
My nitpicky thing, but I could be talked out of it, is I've always heard that report referred to as a final report rather than an exit report. Exit report makes me think of like people kind
Jumping out
of
of planes.
telling how they felt about the process rather than reporting on
Oh, like an
in terms
exit
of
interview.
like an exit interview.
Yeah,
Whereas final report is you're telling how the project went.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's not picky.
It's more of an.
And they may
accounting
come
thing.
back once they've exited.
final report sounds good?
Yeah, final
And
report.
there's a second one there too. Oh, actually, there's a third one.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
without the final report.
Okay. I think that's it.
Anybody have any comments on the scoring sheet?
Yes, I do.
Good. I had all those ands and ors on mine, but I didn't on the other one.
Why are we saying score 1 to 5 and then multiply by 4?
I didn't get that.
That defeats the purpose of why I suggested 10 points or 20 points. I was trying to get a range, so I could assign a range from 1 theoretically to 20. But if I have to score it 1 to 5 and multiply by 4, then that means my score is either 4, 8, 16, or 20.
Right.
So I'm losing the ability to, grade on the curve.
So you want to say multiply your score by?
I don't want to multiply it at all. I want to put a score. I want to put a score
I didn't understand that.
Oh, 1 to 5.
to a maximum of 20.
Oh, I see, okay, just 20.
1 to 20, or 1 to 10, whichever, the way it's laid out on here.
Because we're trying to get to 100 total points. So,
Okay?
So I think the request
I
is,
don't know.
right, when we multiply it by 4, it actually limits the range, right?
right.
Right.
So just say, instead of 1 through 5 times 4, just say 1 through 20.
1 through
Or 0
20.
through 20, because we may give a 0.
Yep.
Okay, 0 through 20.
So you were saying, I think what he was trying to get is if you ranked every one of them 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you multiplied that, then you, and you get the,
Well,
Anyway, yeah.
the point of 20 points or 10 points is so that if we get 12 or 14 applications, you can actually kind of grade on the curve. Because when I do the scoring, I do a different spreadsheet, and I put the questions across this way, and I put the applicants down this way, and I say, okay, which one was the best at that? That's a 20. Which one was next? Maybe that's 18 or 17. And I look at it question by question instead of application by application. So I want to have that capability of being able to assign it anywhere from 1 to 20, or 0 to 20, or 10.
So we can make that for every question, well, we should,
Yeah.
Yes.
every one. So we got 7 questions here.
and it's,
How about,
And the
1
first,
to 20.
first 3 questions are weighted more heavily
yeah.
than the others.
Yeah, there is a weight here, that's why it looks like that.
So do you got, on number 3 on the scoring sheet, you have all the and/ors back in there, so they match what the program guidelines say?
Number 3,
Yes, so where we said reduction in toxicity and/or,
Right,
so I'm saying you're putting all the and/ors in each one of those so they match up with the other one we just talked about?
yes, okay, yes.
And I'm glad we added that, like, please explain how the goals are being met, because somebody, like you said, they just check all the boxes. Yeah, you don't, yeah, that doesn't tell me anything.
Okay. 0 to 20 and these and/ors.
Yeah. Anything else?
Or 0 to 10 on the ones where the ones after the first 3.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's, yes, thank you for bringing that up, I wrote that down, but we didn't say it.
0 to 10 on the
On 4 and 5?
On 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
okay?
Does it sound reasonable, Christine?
All very good.
So, sorry, I'll wait till we're done with this, because I'm going to change the subject.
Oh, boy.
No, it's pretty simple, I
I
think.
was gonna try to get us out by, never mind.
Could we just get the clean version sent out to us? Not that we'll need to reapprove anything, but just for our own awareness.
Sure.
Thank you.
So do you want to make a motion
And the application when it's
to
done.
approve the
Well, the reason why.
suggested changes
Let me ask you-
as we went over them?
The application, the reason why we didn't give you an application, because that's really staff work. You're getting too minucular, is very.
minutia?
Minutia is really, really, So you should leave that up to the staff because the applications will be based on what we see here.
Okay.
Just send it to us anyway.
Oh, I can send it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not getting into it tonight, but
Yeah.
he asked for that to be part of the package that comes. Okay, so we have a motion to approve the proposed changes.
I'll move to approve the proposed changes suggested this evening.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the changes as we've discussed them this evening and reviewed. Everybody in favor, raise your hand. Everybody not in favor, don't raise your hand, and nobody said no. Okay, so they're approved.
Would like the second.
No,
Oh, Trish did.
Rocky was.
Rocky did. Okay. Please, sir.
Okay. So our meeting to award the money is obviously going to look different since we're not going to have presentations. So are we going to get, I assume we'll still get the packet of the applications ahead of time?
Yes.
And we'll do our scoring ahead of time.
Yes.
And then we'll give Matt our scores that night and he'll plug them in and we'll discuss then.
Well, we'll have
And adjust,
questions.
or-
I mean, unless there's
If we have
questions, and then we might rescore it. if
Yeah,
there's
you might
questions.
change your scoring.
Right.
So,
Okay, so I
it'll be
guess
similar.
we don't turn the scores in when
Not
we
yet,
get here.
yeah.
We bring our notes and our tentative scores and we discuss and then we
Yeah.
finalize our scores and Matt goes and
Take a break.
does his
right.
numerical
Actually,
magic.
We're
and
leaving
we
out
go
the
on.
part where if we have questions of the applicants, then we'll take
Right.
those.
Right.
No, excuse me,
In
we
place
have
of-
questions for them, not they, us. We don't want to go there.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, that's helpful.
okay, good.
That was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You thought it was going to be something else?
You never know. You never know.
So can I ask?
Could have veered off course.
Oh, you didn't say.
Not you specifically, but this forum. I mean, we've been off the map for hours at a time, so that's easy.
So, Mr. Graham, I just want to confirm every application that meets the submission guidelines is going to get forwarded to us, correct? Staff's not going to use any discretion on what we think or we don't know,
If
you
it
know, if it
doesn't,
applies
they
or
won't
not.
bring it to us.
No, I mean,
What we have
this
to-
is, what you've done tonight is, and what you've done previously, this really helps a lot because now, like for instance, when it came right down to issues, a lot of times we ran into issues about the nature of the letter
Yeah.
or what type of match based on what you were asking for, what is the match that you should be
Give them
giving?
away.
This is cut and clear, it's 50%.
Yeah.
Perfect. So as long as it checks all the boxes,
Checks all the boxes,
it comes to us, and perfect.
and then we'll leave the policy decisions to you.
Anybody want some cookies for the road?
No.
Oh, you can't have them.
Yeah, I can't have it anymore.
Can I send these home, take to your child? I would love to.
You can only take them home after you adjourn the meeting.
Give them a bunch of cookies right before bedtime.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
What's the ethics committee going to say about